Hey guys, hey, listen, I'm doing this live with my tank top on, so forgive me for a little inappropriateness. It's just a tank top, guys. Let me straighten this out a little bit. I had already been ready for bed and was doing some bills online kind of late, and just wanted to tell you my thoughts. I had some thoughts, man. And one of the thoughts that I have, and I'm getting straight into it, I've named this Business of Separatism and Uncomfortability. Reason I named this is, and reason I went ahead to do this live, I was going to wait till the night tomorrow and go ahead. I had laid down and closed my eyes, and it came into my mind. I've got a video for tomorrow that I'm going to do regarding some of the comments that Bishop Jakes made, and I want you to be ready for that preview between 4 and 6. I'm going to go live, or maybe earlier, because I've got 2 videos. I'm behind 2 videos, and I've already got the notes on both of them. So I just want to give you that preview. But here it is. Here goes. The business of separatism and uncomfortability. First of all, I'm not getting away from it. I'm not this small opening of the country of a few restaurants and the mall is simply retarded. And I say retarded to exclude. See, you thought I was going to say it was retarded to open the country. I'm all for opening the country, but it was retarded to exclude the barbers and the beauticians. And now we are right now doing 6 feet apart, as we were already doing in grocery stores. And we're doing 6 feet apart lines. And so what's going on now is the business of separatism. First of all, to get us locked into being controlled, you have to separate a people. When God made us, he made us to be a people together. That's why he said in his word, forsake not the assembling of yourselves together. Number 2, human contact for a baby is the most important thing in a child's world. It's the most important thing for us as human beings, is to be able to be close, in close proximity and close contact with another human being, specifically our family. So they have gotten us to a place where they have us thinking that it was so many people that was getting COVID-19. And I have heard so many numerous reports about people being quarantined for 14 days with 0 symptoms. Ludicrous. I say ludicrous. And being quarantined and having to take tests, making the hospitals, the doctors, the clinics money to take tests, even when they're not having any symptoms. Specifically, my daughter's husband was quarantined at his mom's while she was out of town. In order for her to be around him, he asked for her to get tested. I said, my daughter's not getting tested. Okay, so yeah, I trumped up on it. I said, she can stay at my house 14 days. I don't want her to get a test. I don't want her to get a shot. I don't know how they're doing the test. But anyway, eventually, she's a grown woman. She's 19. And she's about to expect her first child. And I'm just including that because I want to give you some details, some information. Of course, I said she doesn't need to have a test, but she wanted to go back over there, and the family did not want to have her in the household unless she got a test. I'm saying it made her feel uncomfortable. It was a separatism. That's why I'm saying the business of separatism. Not because of that. I'm speaking what's coming to my heart and to my mind so that you know that I have real life instances. I talked to one of my friends. They said she had COVID-19. She was in the hospital. She had fluid on her lungs. She could not breathe well. They actually approached her to get to think about getting on a ventilator. And she said to them, I'm not going to need a ventilator. God has got me. And they came back to her again a second time and wanted her to sign papers to get on a ventilator. Now she refused and they didn't force her to get on one, but thank God she was dismissed from the hospital. Then she asked them to retest her. They didn't want to retest her, but she got a test and said she did not have the COVID-19 the second time. Now, the first time they said she had it, second time they said she didn't, started signing up information for her to get on the ventilators. I had a woman, friend of mine, sent me a messenger and they overheard in this message. So she tells me, I haven't even taken time to look at various messages that I've sent from my messenger to people that I feel are valid these last few days. I have not done that. I have not reviewed a lot. Most of the things I reviewed was people saying the country was being reopened in certain states and are going to be reopened and they're reopening gradually and these things like that. And then listen to various leaders, religious leaders, and what their stance and opinion on it. Most of them have stayed out of the way and dealt with their own flock, except TD Jakes felt compelled to get on. And all I could hear in his message was gloom and doom and don't. And it's nothing wrong with that. But then he used a scripture that had nothing to do with it. But you won't be able to get that on this video. I want to talk about separatism, and uncomfortability. Separatism first. So first they separated us with this big thing saying it was so much COVID-19 going around. I bet you they don't have a whole bunch of cases of it. And most of them deaths, 86%, approximately, I believe that's the number they said, 86% of the deaths were from them getting on ventilators. Now they claim that the ventilators are not used unless they're absolutely necessary. But that is a flat out lie because they came to my friend. She fought through it and she did not get a ventilator. Now, what if she would have said, okay, I want a ventilator? She might have been among that 86%. Thank God she had the wisdom of God not to do that. Now, one of the reasons why they're keeping people, in my opinion, from going into the hospitals is number one, because the hospitals are empty. There is not a whole bunch of people in the hospitals because they're keeping everybody away. If they don't have the symptoms, they don't want them to go in. But when my son went in, there was hardly anybody. There was no wait time. He went right in the hospital, and I'm not going to mention the name of the hospital because the hospital did not do a COVID-19 test on him, and he ended up going to a clinic. But he had sore throat, he had fever, he had cough, he had all of those type of symptoms. But the clinic, after he went to the hospital, he still got a little. The fever wouldn't go away. He went to the urgent care clinic. And the urgent care clinic said that he did not have COVID-19, but he had all those symptoms. So what's really going on? Do they really know that there is a COVID-19? Now, the other interview I have set aside is the Breakfast Club when they interviewed Dr. Fauci. Shame, shame, shame. Dr. Fauci tried to call COVID-19 a disease on 2 or 3 occasions. The COVID-19 disease. Social media, planting things in your head to have you believe, and then them setting the platform, Breakfast Club, and all these media platforms to form the environment of what we should believe. Now, that's number 2 video. I'm going to get on that again. Number 3 video that is backed up that I'm going to do, and I'm waiting for the time to do, is I looked at the series Hollywood. I had to fast forward a lot of those scenes that they had when they got ready to do the very, very graphic sex scenes. It was totally graphic, but it was very, very explanatory about how Hollywood forms our opinions. And what Hollywood used to do is they used to keep the narrative where we wouldn't really know what was going on with Black people and different individuals. Then Hollywood skipped from that and they went to the narrative of, okay, let us start letting Black people in the films, letting people of color in films, and doing movies and writing movies. So right now, to this day, we have Scandal, we have uh, Power. These are have Black writers. We have Tyler Perry has done his own studio. So we have our own people able to tell the truth or create the picture of us as African Americans that you say I call us Black, because they don't call white Americans call white Americans or Caucasian Americans. Call they call them Caucasian or American. So I was born here, so I'm just plain old American, and I'm Black, so I'm Black American, and it doesn't matter what skin color, what texture, what tone. That's who I am, and that's what you'll hear me say. You won't ever hear me call myself an African American, but you guys can call yourself African American. I know that my ancestors probably came from North America or Africa. I'm not interested in doing ancestry.com. They don't need my information. They don't need my DNA. They don't need none of my stuff. I don't want none of my stuff on record nowhere with this United States of America, period. But whatever is already in record. So I do want to say that the Hollywood series, if you see it on Netflix, is very graphic. You're going to have to fast forward some of the parts if you don't want to watch some of the parts. But if you watch some of the parts, you'll see where Hollywood began to show that they could go burst through and create narratives that were actual and factual. And those actual and factual narratives will help you to understand how much influence Hollywood has. Now that's step two. The first one, they would keep the actual down, so we would not know what our ancestors went through. Then all of a sudden, we saw Roots, and we saw other things with Oprah Winfrey and what is the name of it? Oprah Winfrey. Oh gosh, what is her name? Well, anyway, I just want to briefly say we went to the next phase of putting African Americans in movies and Chinese and different nationalities. That's stage two. Stage three is when we've been able to get more filmmakers, more writers of Black Americans descent with the Black American descent, writing and producing movies. And I told you about that Powers one series, and there are plenty of series that Tyler Perry's done, and other artists. I don't want to even mention all their names. But the third thing is when Hollywood realized that they could use the media not just to tell the story of right now, but to paint pictures of what they wanted people to see. What we did as a church is we complained about it, and I was one of them. We complained about the part of showing what's actually going on in the world, because we felt like these images were putting pictures in our children's mind. And this is true, because now not only are they putting pictures in our children's minds, but now they're creating a narrative that is not actual factual. So they are projecting images now so that we can get those images and our children can get those images, and they think it's okay to do a lot of the things that are on the TV screen. And that causes them to feel more comfortable with it. But what we don't realize is, instead of hiding in the church walls, we have to look as adults. We have to look at what our children are watching, what our children are going through, what they're experiencing. experiencing, so that we know the truth of what is going on in the world. And so, even though I had to fast forward some of those things, there is a YouTube video that I'm going to do concerning that series on Netflix called Hollywood. So that's one, two, three, four videos. I want to deal with the TD Jakes situation, that he said as soon as the country started opening on Sunday. And this is a very new video that I want to do tomorrow. I want to deal with Dr. Fauci again and the Breakfast Club and them painting the image in our head, allowing Dr. Fauci on there and not saying a word, pushing him to give the answers that we needed to hear. But I also said, hey, how much were they paying those guys? DJ Envy, Charlemagne the God, and Angela Lee. And the third thing I want to talk about is the Hollywood perception and what we need to do as a church. The fourth thing, as a church, now we have come out of the walls of the church and we have allowed a lot of this to just happen because it took us by surprise. It took me by surprise. I don't know how I would have reacted if I had the let me take that back. If I had the power and had my own church, I'm sure I would have still been having church. I'm sure I would have. But that's only my opinion. I don't agree or disagree with people that didn't have, because it just depends on how God deals with specific pastors, and it depends on their insurance policies. It's just a whole lot, but I'm just a slight bit renegade-ish. But anyway, I do want to say this. I want to say that we have allowed this business of COVID-19 and whatever's going on with the pandemic. I say pandemic instead of just COVID-19 because I believe the COVID-19 is not been correctly, um, the numbers are not correct. They're not correct. All these people did not get COVID-19. I saw when they wrote COVID on my son's prescription. They put COVID. They didn't even let him sign it. It was a place where you sign. They just put COVID. That's how they do records. That's how they pick up records. And he was not even a COVID patient. This was his first prescription that he got. The second prescription that he got, they wrote COVID on it. And when he went back, when they called him for his results, he didn't even have COVID. But there it is. There's a record right there at the pharmacy. Now they're going to have pharmacies that are going to open up to help do vaccinations. They're still trying to pump up that there is some kind of vaccination to keep people from getting COVID-19. I recommend, and this is the only time I've ever given my opinion, that you don't take it. I recommend that you don't get the vaccination. Don't let anybody stick a needle in you to vaccinate you for anything. I recommend that you get your immune system built up, and I've done videos on that. Get your zinc, get your elderberry, get your vitamin C, get all of these things. You can get iodine tablets, you can get black seed oil. I've got it all, and I take it on a daily basis. I think I missed yesterday. No, I missed today. But today I was kind of going through a little bit in my stomach. But anyway, have been faithful for the last couple of weeks, taking one tablet with all ingredients in it except maybe the black seed oil. The black seed oil I use as a drop. All this stuff is what I recommend. Don't take a vaccination. The other thing I recommend, and you can say I'm crazy if you want to, I am not concerned with what people say about me. That's one thing about me, is I live as unto the Lord. If I make a mistake, it says unto the Lord. It doesn't have anything to do with you. I've never worried myself about what people think about me. I've always been like that. God has raised me like that as a little girl at 5 years old, maybe younger than that. But as long as I can remember, I've never cared about what somebody says or thinks about me, except for my own mother and father. And that is it. And God himself. He's the judge of my life. So I do want to say this. I recommend that You get even wasp and hornet spray and insect spray, because we don't know what they got going on in this world. They said something about some killer wasps. It's just a good idea to get some wasp and hornet spray and just put some in your cupboard, because who knows? What if something happens? And then you have cupboard shelves of not enough wasp and hornet spray or not enough insecticide, because everybody's cleared off the shelves like they did with the gloves and the mask and the hand sanitizer. So just in case, I'm just saying, just in case, it ain't gonna hurt you to get a couple of hands and just have them. Just have them on hand. And I did it specifically because yesterday my son said a wasp was in his room. He didn't even sleep in his room. He slept on the couch. And I fell asleep on the couch and woke up and saw him. And I said, oh my God, he didn't kill the wasp. He just said, just going to sleep on the couch. But he killed it the next day. So anyway, there's just a lot that I want to talk about, but separatism is what came to me tonight. They have tried to separate us and they've done it. They've succeeded that. They're trying to keep us separate and they've done it and succeeded that. We're now marching 6 feet apart, and it is just new normal right now. Number 3, uncomfortability. We can't get our feet done. We can't get our hair done. Haircuts, they have to feel like they're in hiding if somebody's cutting hair or doing hair or trying to provide for their families. They are really specifically trying to make us feel the isolation factor. That's what I mean about uncomfortability. The isolation factor, first of all, with being separate and not connected as human beings should be. And if there is something we want to protest, we can't even protest unless we are 6 feet apart, because it is a government mandate to be 6 feet apart if it's a social gathering of 10 or more people. That is not just the social gathering, if there's any kind of gathering, 6 feet apart. And they're pushing this agenda. Because separate will fall, divided will fall, together we stand. See, that is part of getting us apart and separate and being able to be controlled. That is my opinion. Now, the uncomfortability that goes along with the separateness, I'm surprised they didn't tell us we got to use only 5 gallons of water in a day, and each person split up a gallon and get out the shower, and you can only use that much. Then we'll start feeling dirty and separate and can't get our hair done and can't get our toes or feet done. But we have to just sit at home and do our own pedicures, cut our own toenails. Not a problem. But there is haircuts that is a part of grooming, and that's a part of making you feel like a different type of person. You're going to have to do it yourself. You can't use your money to gain this. Want to do, even if you did it once a month, even if you did it once a week, whatever the case may be, it is a part of, to me, an agenda. I said the word. I wasn't going to say it, but hey, I got to really trust God on this one and trust that he'll cover me. He'll protect me in his blood. And I'm not worried about you. I'm not worried about you. I'm not worried about none of y'all. I'm just saying, this is what I'm doing right now, is I am still being aware. I'm not letting these days in the country open up to make me fall back to sleep. So all I'm saying to you is, remember that you're separate and you're being made to feel uncomfortable. I don't know what they're going to do regarding all these loans they're giving out to small business. Giving out these loans is like giving out a handicap. I'm still paying my rent on time. I'm still paying my car note on time. I am not going to get a loan unless I absolutely need it, which I do. But I am not going to concern myself with getting thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for my business. I'm not going to do that. But I will take advantage, and I will remind you to take advantage of a stimulus package that you can afford and that you can pay back. Don't just get it because it sounds like Santa Claus has come and the stimulus package is part of Santa. Don't do it. Don't not pay your rent if you have the money to pay your rent. Don't get behind. Pay your bills. Keep them paid up, because it is just a handicap to allow somebody to for you to allow yourself to be put in somebody's debt. I said I was just going to come on a brief moment. I'm done. I've done less than 30 minutes. I want to ask you very seriously again, forgive my tank top. I am dressed still. Just got a little hot and took my t-shirt off. But forgive my tank top, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can catch me on Facebook, Evangelist Marilyn Gay. Most of my lives now are going to be on YouTube, so you will not get my lives since the country is open up. I'm not pacifying you guys. You were at home. I was trying to keep you busy, keep you motivated, keep you knowing that I'm going to keep updating you and keep you informed of things going on. And I would do a lot of Facebook Lives just to keep people feeling like they are alive. So I want to say to you, I'm praying that you will stay alive and stay alert. All right. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Take care. Bye.